Motivation file. Now, this one and the one that comes next, numbers 36 and 37, are both files, but of different sorts and different types. Motivation file has to do with a place to turn critical observation into personal motivation. Now, this can take several different forms. If you have a direct somebody that you report to directly that gives you some feedback on how you're doing your job, and let's just say it's not all salutary, and there's something that you see as a negative or something that is brought out to you as something to work on or to improve, motivation file is a place where you can put that information and then put it to good use. One of the major problems that curtails people's ability to advance or to improve is a defensive posture towards critical observations of them. And none of us like negative information. But I don't believe that any one of us would be so pompous as to believe that we are unimprovable. And so it requires a little bit of emotional maturity to be able to set aside your desire to defend yourself, to give your rationale, or to explain why it was something that you could do or not do, or any number of things. But I would say this, that most of the time, even from a negative Nancy who always has something negative to say, almost every criticism at least has a kernel of truth in it. And I have found that, at least in my role as a pastor, when I have a parishioner that comes and has a complaint, even if by and large the merit of the complaint is very small or baseless, that I can, if I choose to, seek to find where the kernel of truth is that I could improve on. And then, if nothing else, at the end of that conversation, they can feel heard and that you listen to them when you state what that is, and that you're going to contemplate how you can work on that. Now, that doesn't mean you become a doormat or someplace where people can wipe their feet on you. But if it's somebody that is above you hierarchically giving you a job performance review, or if it's somebody beneath you hierarchically coming to you with a complaint, always try to find where is the kernel of truth at. And once you have known that, once you've noticed that, then you want to make sure that that makes it into its motivation file, into some sort of system that you're going to actually work on improving whatever that may happen to be. Now, there's also a sense in which, in the moment, you can take ownership for that, and then that gives you a little bit more psychological ability to push back on maybe the big picture item that the person underneath you might be wanting to bring about a change in the organization through leveraging a weakness or an imperfection of yours. So, for instance, you could say, Jim, I agree. I don't think I communicated as well as I should have. I have failed to remind people of what needed to be done. But Jim, you're a grown man, and I told you that I wanted this done by such and such a date, and it was really your responsibility to write it down and to follow through and to make sure that it got done, and that if there was a problem, to communicate that to me. Now, I promise you that going forward, I will do my very best to not just give you the assignment, but to check in a week ahead of time to make sure that you don't forget. But ultimately, Jim, you're a grown man, and this is your job. So I agree that I will remind you, but I need you to agree that you will meet the job requirements. And so that enables you to take some little bit of ownership, take a little bit of the sting out of it, but yet continue to maintain the major force of the statement to be on them. You need to do better. And so a motivation file is where you take those negative pieces of information about yourself, sift through them, find the kernel of truth, the thing you need to work on to improve, to grow, to become, so that you can keep moving. And then you actually set about accomplishing becoming a better you. In many ways, a complainer can be helpful if you don't give them too much credence in your organization.